So today we are going to discuss some more pipeline activities. Uh, so we already know, we already discussed some of them, and we'll continue to discuss further in those activities. So one of them was get metadata activity.
Okay.
Okay. So now what is metadata?
Data about data called metadata.
Can you give me an example?
So suppose in SQL we have tables, right? In tables we have so many records. So somewhere it maintains a system table which has each table how much record, how many tables it has, all sort of information about the objects it has in a system table. That is the metadata.
Right. So that's one kind of a metadata. And also, for example, you have an employee table, right? So
Mhm.
where the data is come from, who has created, when it was created, when it was updated, when it was modified, right? So these are also part of metadata, right? So
Okay.
normally in
Mm-hmm.
real time scenario, if you see, if you query any table using select star from, you would also see some of the columns where who has created, when the last modified, uh, when it was inserted, all this kind of information you will have different columns for that, right? And why it is important, because in a kind of in any use case, it's not just the data we are dealing. For example, see, I want to give a simple example, right? So I am getting a employee data. Okay. So I have I got employee number, employee name, okay, and his date of birth and his age, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now let's say I got this an year ago. Okay. Now today he may not be the same age, right? He would have included one year old,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's very
Mm-hmm.
important to understand at what date he was so what date his age is, that age is referring,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is the situation, that is the scenario why do we need the metadata. So that is why it's required. If you would have a column when the data got inserted into the table, then you know that, okay, by this date he was so and so age, right? So now today if you're calculating, you need to calculate accordingly to increase his age, because it's
Mm-hmm.
no longer the same age even today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the purpose of metadata. So it's very important. And you will see a lot of you keep hearing about metadata in so many places in your organization or the analytic space you are working. Okay. So if you are hearing, don't worry what is this new jargon or anything, but metadata is about all about. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now Azure also provides the activity in the form of a pre-built activity to get the metadata of any source, right? For example, um, I have an employee file. We have a sample employee in our storage account, right? So using this get metadata activity, we can get, okay, so when it was created, what is the file name, and what is the size, when was the last modified, all the information we can get through metadata activity.
Okay.
Okay. So now filter. Okay. So the second one is filter. Filter is basically to filter the, I mean, it's a simple, right? To filter the values, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say in the previous activity, or somebody is sending an array of values in the form of array from the previous activity or as an input to the ADF, and then you wanted to deal with certain, you want to filter out those values, and you want to deal with certain employee IDs only, not everything you want. Like
Mm-hmm.
assume that you are receiving employee number 100 10203, like that till 1010. Now
Mm-hmm.
out of that, you are only interested only 2 or 3 employees, you want to do some transformations, not everybody, Okay, so in those scenarios, you can use filter, you can filter the data using the filter activity. Clear?
Okay.
Now for each, I think we already discussed with a example real-time scenario how for each works. Basically, it's a control flow in the pipeline, and it iterates to a collection and executes the specified values activity in the loop. Okay,
Mhm.
so that we already discussed and we covered this one. Now let's move to the if condition. Okay, so now
Mhm.
if condition, if you are from the programming background and you already any other programming language like Java, C plus, Python, so it's a very common scenario. Without if, you can't be writing any program. There is always if loop, all the general sorry, programming concepts you will be using in your programming. Okay, so similarly, pipeline as part of Azure pipeline activities, Microsoft also provides an if condition activity where you need to give an expression, and if the expression is true, what you want to do, and if this expression is false, what you want to do. Okay, so it's very simple and there is no ambiguity understanding. So if you cannot use nested, for example, if and underneath another if and else if, all those stuff you will be not able to do that. But it's a simple if expression is true, do something, or else do something, and if, that's it. Okay, now the other one is wait activity, right? So many times, let's say you're expecting some data to be arrive in the location, but there might be some delay, right? So let's assume that the scenario could be you want to run the pipeline at 9 o'clock every day, but customer said that, hey, look, yeah, so normally the upstream system generates the file at 9 o'clock, before 9 o'clock every day, but there are some chances that it might slip over to 5 or 10 minutes, right? So in that case, what would you do? So to handle such scenarios, we have a wait activity. Wait is nothing but in the form of seconds. You can mention you can mention the in seconds how long you want to wait the file to be arrived, or how long you can wait for the pipeline to process to do the next activity. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's quickly do a demo.
So wait activity is basically just introducing a delay in the specific task. Can I say that?
Right, right.
Okay.
So I have opened a new pipeline, and let's create. So let's discuss the first one, get metadata activity. Okay, so now I already have a employee sample file in my storage location. Okay, so now I want some of the metadata from this file. Okay, and let's see what and all those options are available. So when you type, it automatically comes the get metadata. Okay, so now you need to have a data set to connect to the data source to get the metadata information. Okay, so now I don't have any data sets are available. You can see 0 data set. So let's create a new one. Click on here. We Azure Blob Storage. Okay, so it's a delimited text CSV file. See, I already have a blob link service where I can reuse that. Okay, so container, I will select.
So what is that container one, sir?
Yeah, hold on. So let's create a new link service. Okay, ls. Uh,
Azure Blob Storage.
yeah, blob.
AWS.
See, the more and more you practice creating link service and data sets, the more you are familiar with. Okay, though it looks very simple, but yeah. So I would urge you, the more you create, it doesn't cost you anything, right? See, Microsoft is not costing you or billing to create link service, but the idea is the more and you create, the more you familiar with, since you're just starting. All right, connection successful. So Azure Blob Storage. Okay, so Azure Dash Storage. So we need to give the file path, right? So in the data set, we need to give the file path which one you want to connect. Okay, so demo training. Okay, the file name was okay, demo content employee. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so rest of them leave as is and they create. Okay, so now, yeah, so this is the one we created just now, right? Now you can
Yeah.
open and see it's demo training employee. Okay. All right. Now you can see there is a field list, right? So
Mhm.
Microsoft already provides some of the pre-built uh, fields for metadata that like we discussed about who has created, when it was last modified, what was the file name and all, right? So those are the kind of a general stuff Microsoft already provides for us to use them. Okay, so let me so you can see, right? So add dynamic, we can also dynamically mention uh, to get the kind of a metadata. Or if you see column count, content MD5, or forget about this, we will discuss later. Okay. Now it checks whether the file is exist or not. What is the file name? What is the file type? When was it last modified? What was the size? What was the structure? So all this metadata you can get it from using these fields. Okay, so let's say I wanted to know the number of columns there in my CSV file. Okay, so now let's debug. Succeeded. Let's see the output here. You see, there are three columns, which is employee ID, name, and salary. Three columns are available. Now the output of this is number three. Now this three you can use it into your further further, whether you want to use a copy or you want to create a loop or you want to do whatever you want. The three is the output out of this and you can use over there.
So, sir, this output coming in a JSON file, right? So I have a question. How I'm going to use this output, like three?
Yeah, so let's say you want to you are loading employee data and you are expecting at least five columns which are employee ID, name, salary, department, and maybe bonus. Okay, now you want to validate that if my pipeline only to copy the employee data if the columns are more than five are equal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now in this case what will happen? it's giving output as a 3. So then your copy activity, rest of your pipeline activity will not execute. Okay, so that is the purpose of metadata.
Yeah, yeah. No, so I'm just, sir, if suppose I want to, like, I know that we got the column count. How I'm going to use this column count, like a value, because in JSON file, right?
Correct. So it will come as it will be available as a parameter to your next activity. For example, let's see, add activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now if you see get metadata output.
Mm-hmm.
So the value automatically available as an output parameter. So you can use this. So you know what it comes, right? 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can add a logic over here. Okay, if it's greater than 5, then only copy. Otherwise, do nothing. Okay,
Okay.
we'll cover when we are discussing if statement. We will cover that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so like that you will use. See, whenever you use get metadata, the output will be available as a available here for you to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the form of output. So don't worry about the JSON, but that's how uh, it's automatically Microsoft converts the JSON into a output value, and then you see if you see the JSON, we have so many stuff. Okay, not this one. Like where is that? Okay, so the value will be available as an output value that you can use it in your further processing. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now let's see exist. So what the exist does, it looks for the see when we're creating a data set, we told the demo IT training. I am looking for an employee CSV, right? So if it exists, it will give you true. If it doesn't exist, it will give you false.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's see. So I wanted to see whether the file is exist or not. Let's do the debug. Right now you see exist. You got it true,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then you can see the real time use case might be you start the pipeline, right? So now you're expecting the employers or any sales data. And now you want to have a check whether the file is already exist or not. Then only you want to do copy and the rest of the activities. Right? If there
Correct,
is no
correct.
file, there is doesn't the pipeline will fail unnecessarily. Right?
Sir, I did, yeah, sir. I think this part it's very helpful. I'm only curious about how, like, suppose this return true, right? Now, suppose if you want to copy the data, sir, how do you go with that? If you don't mind to just show in case copying some data, like true value, we got it right. I
Hmm.
want to utilize the true value to copy the data. Means when it is true, then copy the data. If not, then don't.
Yeah. So hold on. I will tell that. Okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one, you can see item name, right? You wanted to know what is the file name. Okay. And use that item name and just do the debug. Okay. And see the item name which comes as employee samples.csv. Okay. And similarly, there are many are available. For example, I want to know type. I want to know last modified when it was last modified. You see, the timestamp had come out,
Mm-hmm.
and you see la must modify by 25 4 7 that the same thing had come out over here,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
right? So these are the options you available in the form of metadata that you can be used in your further processing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now come to filter. Okay. So what is filter? So filter we discussed. It filters the array of input that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I will do here, I will create. Let's see that let's delete this. So I'm creating an array. Array, everybody understood, right? What is array?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So did you put like filter or not? I don't see the filter operator
No, no, no.
there.
I'm just creating a parameter right now.
Okay.
Okay. So now I have created a parameter called number array, which is array, and I have a values 1 to 8. All right. So now I want to use the if sorry filter. Okay. So filter is as simple as you in general tab you need to provide the name and everything, and in the section you need to give the input and also you need to mention the condition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's do the input. You see the parameter which we added automatically available as a parameter,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is our input. Okay. The condition we can mention, right? For example, uh, I wanted to use greater. See, we have array 1 to 8, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't want 1 to 8, but my requirement is I wanted to use the array which is available as item here, and then I want only the values which are greater than 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want this. Okay, so now do that and debug. So it is good. Okay, executed. Let's see the values. You see the values only coming 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, which are greater than 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is how we will use filter. It could be anything. There are so many expressions and there are so many functions are available. So based on the need and based on the use case, you have to use the right filter to filter out the right expression to filter out the values.
So in this demo, you put the parameter manually, right? Like array, right?
Huh.
This parameter can be dynamic also.
Yeah, why not? If you see, so while you pass this to pipeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. See, it's coming as this one, right? So
Fixed
here,
value.
yeah. So here you can give a you can for example you want to use a dynamic content or whatever it may be, you can provide this. For example, there is a previous activity that sends the uh, as an output to your filter, and then you can use those values as an input to your you can see dynamic here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to use, just clear it and use the pre activity before the filter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say let's say you you're getting all employee data, right? So in the lookup, for example, lookup, you selected all the employee IDs, and then employee IDs you got 1 to 100. right?
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
the lookup output, you can use it as an input to this filter, and then you can filter out the required values.
Okay.
Okay, so that,
Mm-hmm.
see these all are the activities. Some of them make sense individually, but if you club together, if you use one after another and one before another, it makes sense, logically makes sense to understand the concept. Okay, now that is where those real-time scenario sessions would help,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So now
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come up with another real-time scenario for you guys to do that for this weekend, right? So we already have done one, and we're going to get one more this before this weekend, so that you will practice that, right? See, just knowing how filter works, just giving some inputs, yes, this is okay to learn the concept, but unless you practice with a real-time scenario, it won't be printed on your mind, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the purpose of giving you the real-time scenario for you to practice. So practice as much as possible and come up with questions, but don't stop. Initially there may be errors and all, but don't stop. That's how you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now filter is done, and for each we already did. Let's see what if condition does. Okay, so now I don't want to commit this, let's remove this. Okay. Okay, so now I have a list of values. Okay, or do one thing, I delete this one, I will add okay, I wanted to create a array of cities. For example, uh, Bangalore. Okay, now within these cities I want to search for a particular city which I am interested into. City name, which is okay. Now I will use if. So as usual, you will fill the general section and go to this one. Okay. So now, I have created a two parameters, one city of arrays where Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, and the city I'm looking for is Delhi. So what this activity of if condition does, if Delhi is already part of that array and do something, if doesn't, do something. Okay. So for that, what we will use contains. Okay. Now under contain, we are passing city of arrays, and then we're also passing city name. So what it does, it will check whether the city name already contains in the array or not. If it contains, it gives you true, or it doesn't, if it gives you false.
So I have one question. So when it becomes pipeline bracket and when it becomes item bracket, because last time it was item bracket, right? Now it says pipeline bracket. So how this get decided?
See, the parameters we have created at pipeline level.
Okay.
So if the parameters are created at pipeline level, you will get the pipeline followed by the parameters.
Okay. Okay.
But let's say that you are using as part of any other activity, let's you are using for each or any
Mm-hmm.
other activity, that activity sends the data to another
Mm-hmm.
activity, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in those cases it will become item.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Thank you for clarifying
yeah.
that.
So okay, this is my expression. Now what I need to do, if it's a true, do something. So if it's a true, what I need to do. Okay, so if it's true, if you click on the pencil, you will again get another uh, uh, window. So there you can use it. Wait. Okay. So now wait. What I will mention is wait for 5. So this is true wait. Okay. Similarly, similarly, 1 second. Yeah, if it's fault, what I need to do? If it's fault again, this is false. Wait. Again, I want to sleep for 3 seconds. See, I'm covering weight also here. So weight is simple. You need to mention the time in the seconds, and the pipeline will wait of those many seconds. Okay. So now let's see. Let's debug this one. Okay. So we are passing Bangalore, Delhi, and Hyderabad, and we're passing Delhi, which is already there. Okay. So now let's see which one will execute. You see, the true weight was executed because the value is already present there. Delhi was already present, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the true weight activity got executed. Now let's see again. So I want to pass here Mumbai. Okay. Now let's see which true will execute. You see the false one executed because Mumbai is not part of that list. So the false activity got executed. So this is how to help you, Sachit. So this is how the activities will mention. So if it's true, what I need to do. If it's false, what I need to do. You see,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right? So that's how you will in a real time scenario will help you. Now wait, we already did, right? Just now we saw. So wait is simple. It just wait for those many seconds, right? In our earlier example we discussed in real time could be the customer said that the file is available by 9 o'clock, but there may be some delay 5-10 minutes, right? So your process has
Mm-hmm.
to be designed such a way to, even if it's a delay of 5 or 10 minutes or seconds, your process has to be designed and picked up accordingly, otherwise pipeline will fail, right? So in those cases we will use wait activity. So it's just simply waiting the process to move further. Okay. So now let's do a switch activity. Okay, so I will cover until later because these are our relative ones. So switch activity is basically the same functionality as switch statement in any programming language. Right? If you're from C++, Python or Java, there also switch statements are available. Okay. So now and also in some programming language, it's a form of a case statement. Okay, so for each case it validates the expression and does the activity. Okay, now if you see in if condition, we didn't have a too many uh, options. Okay, so we have seen if it's true what needs to be done, if it's false what needs to be done. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot go beyond this. But in general, these are the just not the true or false. There may be other situations as well, right? For example, I'm getting data from multiple countries like US, Canada, UK, so on and so forth, right? So if the file name contains US, what I need to do. If the file name contains UK, what I need to do. If the file name contains Europe, what I need to do. So those kind of a multiple expression validation can't be possible in if. It's just simple. If true, what I need to do, or if it's a false, what I need to do. That's it. But what if it's something, if it's a apart from true or false, for example, if it's a US, what I need to do. If it's a UK, what I need to do. So if you remember the else if, right?
Mm-hmm.
So else if is not available here,
Yeah, yeah.
right? If it's if the country name equal to US, then do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Else if country name equal to UK, then do something.
Mm-hmm.
Else if country name equal to Europe, then do something.
Means nested if is not available basically.
Exactly. So you cannot nest it. It just the if condition just true or false. That's it. So in true or false, there are only two values. There can't be in between anything else. Now the difference between switch statement is it validates each of them, right? If it validates
Mm-hmm.
each of them and do the activities accordingly.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the difference between switch and if condition. All right. So now
Mm-hmm.
before I move on, I just want to bring another concept called so we'll discuss web activity and along with all other stuffs along with until in tomorrow session. But I wanted to bring to you another data called stored proc. Have you guys heard what is stored proc?
Yeah, I know.
You know, anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so stored proc is a bunch of SQL statements. Okay, so it's a pre-compiled bunch of SQL statements that can process together as a unit. Okay, so you can create a procedure using a create procedure name, add SQL statement and go. And once you create it, you can execute the stored process using the execute statement, execute and give the procedure name. All right. So now let me go back. So where is my SQL? So for this demo purpose, I have created a stored proc. I will show you. So you can see my screen, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I have created a create stored proc random number generator. Okay, and then I have a variable which is random number integer, and I set that variable to a there is a pre-built function available in SQL database which basically generates the random numbers. Okay, Now I in the begin section what I mentioned case if the random number it starts with 1. Okay, so if the random number equal to 1, then wait for 10 seconds. If the random number is 2, wait for 20, and random 3 wait for 30, and random 4 is wait for 40. Okay, so now I want you to understand this, and I want you to call this function, call this procedure in pipeline. Okay, so let's go back to our pipeline. Okay, sorry. Can you see my screen? There is a lagging. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Let's
can see that.
let's see that. So first we need to create a linked service and data set for our SQL database, right? Okay, so create a link service. Okay, so now go back here. So let's create a data set.
As your SQL database. So question in real production environment, do we really create all the time this link server, or once we create, use it again and again?
Yeah, so we will not be creating every time,
Yeah.
right? If there is a source, there is a source system, we create once, that's enough, right? Will not be creating.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So now if you see the lookup I created in our earlier example, the lookup we use as a query, right? If you see the real-time scenario, what we have done, we have used the query and we have written a query to get that values. Now just beside query, you can see another option called stored procedure. Okay. The moment I click the stored procedure, which is available in my SQL database, will automatically pops up. You can see the random num generator. Okay. So now let's debug. Oh, I need to delete this, right? Pipeline parameters. Okay. So let's do that and see. Okay, so it's in queue. Okay, let it run. So now I want you to do another exercise, which is basically you need to create a pipeline to call the stored procedure, and based on the stored procedure value, whatever it gives the output, you need to write a wait statement accordingly. See now it's returning wait 20 seconds, right? So now if I rerun again, is it clear? The access is clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so stored procedure basically returns you either wait for 10, wait for 20, wait for 30, or wait for 40. Okay. Now, based on the stored proc output, you need to create a switch statement and then use that output, and accordingly you can create another wait activity accordingly. So this time it returned to 30. So the more you execute, it randomly gives you the out of 4 values. Okay. So now once you are done, see the switch option is available. Now, Sachin, for your question. So whenever you
Mm-hmm.
have this one lookup, so the lookup output automatically available as a value over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to expression, you see the lookup activity output automatically
Mm-hmm.
coming, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
you need to use that, and also you need to give the name. For example, if you see, uh, where is the debug? So let's debug again. We can't. So if you see, it gives you as an action, right? The output name is action. Okay, so now we need to use that action over here. Dot first row dot action. Okay, so once you do that, then you can mention, if you can mention, you can create the case statements like if it is for example, wait 10 seconds, right? So I click here and I will just go and I will use 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I'll create another case. You can create a number of, there is no issue, right? And which is wait 20 seconds. So I will add another, and I'll create another wait with 20. Okay. Right. But see, the output of this exactly need to match with this one. Otherwise, you will get an error. It will not do anything if it's a it doesn't match that. Okay. So similarly, you can write and accordingly you can uh, run that. So let me show you. You can write any number of validations. There is no limit to that. See, I'm just using weight, this weight as an activity, but in real time scenario, you will be doing some copy or something because all the activities are already available. Okay. Okay. Now you see the activities. So let's say debug.
Sir, I need to drop off. I got a call, office call now in next three
Yeah.
minutes.
So see right now the weight two got created. Is executing weight two. Okay. Now if I debug again, let's debug again. See weight one getting executed, right? So it validates each of the case statement, and accordingly it does the processing. Okay, you can mention any number of case statements. There is no limit, and based on the value you can do that. Now I want you to come up with a I want you to do this exercise on your own. Okay, and come for tomorrow session. Okay, you can take any sample data that you want, or the same sample which I did you can take as well. Okay, now I want you to practice because this is very important. If you don't do, if you're not able to do that, you will be not able to understand the filter, metadata, and all the stuff.
Sure, sir. I'll do
Okay.
that. Oh,
Yeah, so do that and we'll resume tomorrow, and we'll do that. Okay.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks guys, we'll teach you.
Thank you, brother.